Hello and welcome to round 3 with 4-color rights. Yet again, another one die roll. Let's go with a reasonable hand, not a super exciting one. So if I go Wilds, Forest, Dryad, Wilds, I can then go Visionary Rights on 3. Kind of wish there was like a yield until end step option. And this, yeah, see, this is kind of like the thing I was describing by only having 2 Evolving Wilds. You just never. This preview window just doesn't like keeping the same size ever. So we're playing against the Sultai mid-range deck that Owen Turtenwald got second in the MOCS with, or most likely something similar to it. I guess I could have had an up and tapped Visionary if I sequenced that differently, but I'm not blocking anyways. My mana creature is better than my opponent's at this point. Boo. I wanted to cast Galactic Company. I drew all 3 wilds? Ugh. So, play both of those this turn. Take a damage to do so. Just get like a Painless Black here, I guess. Yeah, Painless White's better. Okay, now I have to debate if I want to use this. I'll keep trying to rock this out. Kind of do. I don't think this Scion token. I can just bring the business, actually. I like that better. And I think there's a slight punishment for me holding this land, but I like the bait my opponent thinking there's a company in my hand play a little better. I think like in this spot, because it specifically... Oh, yes, please. Yeah, I will take that one. Then I'll just start spewing out more Scions. So I guess the first Scion activation is just a Scry, but that's still good. Yeah. I have 9. I can actually Scion twice next turn. It is kind of a beating that if my opponent's still on guard my Displacer, I just get completely destroyed. Is this Gitrog monster? Okay, good. My opponent has the actual magic card in their deck instead. They're racing. You're trying to race. Okay. That seems like I want to actually tap that double colorless source. And then I get to attack. I can attack 5, leave a flicker, or I can do this attack. Yeah, I just want to attack with two things here and flicker my opponent's Smasher. Alright, the sign. I could have attacked one more thing. I was thinking the sign was summoning sick for some reason. Or I actually should have attacked with one less thing and gotten a scry out of this interaction. I can flicker my Sifter, make a Scion, and then, well, my opponent's just going to concede because their hand doesn't do anything because they're playing Sultai do nothings. Okay. I think I poured out, like, just a... I don't really want to get into the world of, like, reality smashing my opponent here, but I do want a little more value than I have right now. I don't want to transgress, really. I can transgress. It just feels like Rite is so good in this match. I guess I don't need to combo. So I can do, like, this. That sounds good. It's possible that you just want Brood Monitor anyways, just as a magic card in this matchup, but I don't mind this plan. I do like Tracker better than Pitiless Horde here, but I think this matchup's just a complete and utter joke. At least when I played it at the Grand Prix and that game, it felt really, really similar. Like the Sultai deck is a deck based on individual card power level, and it doesn't have a lot of the efficient ways to swing. Like, it doesn't have a lot of... it feels a lot like a deck from last or 2 seasons ago, where you'd have these decks that had high individual card power and like a limited number of ways to get a tempo advantage by making 2 plays in the same turn. However, in this format, the individual card power level is easily overridden, and once you fall behind to that, it's hard to recover, especially if you're locked into a line of plays. Yeah, I'm down for this hand. No gamble, no future. 3, 6, 14 green sources in the deck? Oh yeah, versus a mulligan, I'm immediately keeping my Transgress Displacer hand. 14 green sources, right? 3 basics, 3 wilds, and 8 duels. Which, if I remember correctly, was the number for, well, just having it on top of your deck. But playing, there was a specific deck, Jund in Standard, where just like via overall like experimentation and just like trying things and like doing stuff, it was just like if you give yourself like 3 turns, like until the 3rd turn on the draw to hit, you are good with that, but the 3rd turn on the play you weren't. If with 14 sources of a color, like if you're missing a color, you need to hit like black by turn 3 on the draw, it was good, but on the play it was kind of sketch. And this hand was on the draw, so I was likely to hit it by 3, but really I needed it by 4 for company. And if I just didn't hit one of the early turns, whatever. My opponent revealed a Yav Coast. Because of this, I think I just want to fire off Transgress here. So I guess I don't... What 3... Well, I'm not going to be able to Transgress any other time this game. The Duskwatch Recruiter is still going to be good later on, but the Transgress loses value, and wow, that is... My opponent's hand does nothing. I do guess I gave up the chance of a turn 3 company there, but like, the company is just going to be good whatever turn I cast it on it. It doesn't have to be good on turn 3. The Transgress is going to get bad as soon as I stop casting it on time. So that's probably gone. My follow-up play is probably just Displace or Attack. I know my opponent has Cultivator. They're probably playing Evo Wilds this turn, so they're probably on like Cultivator Coast Unknown card at the end of this turn. It's like not a good hand. Yeah, this like the green cards in this green blue black deck are not nearly as interesting as Chandra, Fire Impulse, and Radiant Flames. The right cards are literally just those cards, but like that's good enough for the Grixis deck, really. I thought the Grixis deck was actually just like, whoa, what just happened there? Okay. Why would they do that? Maybe they drew negate. I can't really do a whole lot if that's the case, but whatever. Back to the aside about the Grixis deck. I thought it was really bad, and then I started playing against it. It just turns out that like Jace and Chandra are so good, and the addition of the black cards, it just all ties together in just a really nice way. Even Oliver too was saying the deck was bad after he went A2 at the Pro Tour and X or top 4 to Grand Prix with it, and it still did good last weekend, or felt decently good last weekend. Okay, I was just gonna put 2 mediocre creatures on the battlefield. I guess in theory I could attack the Lone Rite. I think taking the 1 damage is better. And by in theory, I do mean in practice I will be attacking the Lone Rite this turn. Not sure my opponent fetched Waste when they have Yavkos. It seems more likely that they wanted to fetch Island, unless they have one island that drew it maybe. But the thought is that this can tap, like, you're now colorless plus a potential blue, but you can have a painless blue and effectively a waste for the rest of the game instead, which seems better. Like, I'm just saying, like, if you got the island to make the blue off the Yavkos. I can't imagine any turn in this format where you want to cast 2 colorless cards. Unless you have some absolutely absurd hand where you're deploying 2 Reality Smashers. I guess you could deploy, you could have like Thought Knot Seer and Spatial Contortion, but I'm trying very hard to imagine the situation. I know none of my opponents, I know the Advocate, but yeah. We're about to reach this phase of the game. Oh, look, we did the cool kid thing. Reflector, Displacer, Reflector, Displacer, Beep, Bop, Boop, Bop. All your stuff goes back to your hand. Get wrecked for casting creatures. This is Languish? No. No. My opponent's just dead. Just super duper. Oh, wow. Yeah, sure. I don't actually think there's a reason to bounce the 2-1. Opponent's basically on Languish or Bust. And by I'm talking about bouncing the 2-1, and that's via Displacer, sacrificing the Scion. Yeah. I guess I could have left back Lone Dryad and not sacked the Scion, but I actually think at this point that, I mean, it's trading 1 damage this turn for 1 damage next turn. There's like 1 more turn left in this game, and the Scry off sacrificing the Scion is better. And, well, we just won anyways.